Good morning. Good morning. Hello to everyone. How are you doing today? And once again, welcome to Coach Steele's Finance Training. We're happy to have you as you tune in to Coach Steele's Finance Training on today. And as usual, we and we are live on Facebook. And you already know the rules here at Coach Steele's Finance Training. As you come on into the room, make sure you greet the rest of the team. I want to tell you good morning, or for some people, it may be afternoon, depending on what part of the country you're in. But happy to have you tuning in on today to Coach Steele's Finance Training. And we're going to have an awesome time on today as we talk about making money for now and later. And so that's the subject on today, making money for now and later. And of course, if you're a little bit older, you know about a famous candy that a lot of people used to eat back in the day. Didn't cost you much money at all, but they were called now laters. That's how we call them. That's what we call them, now laters. And so we're talking about making money now and later. And are you making money for now and later? What are you doing? How are you being proactive? How are you being creative? And depending on your age, it's going to look different for each and every person. So definitely good morning to you, Mr. Tony Sherman. Happy to have you tuning in to Coach Steele's Finance Training on this morning. And so when we get started on this, of course, I do want to let everyone know, if you are tuning in on the Facebook Live, you can always go to the YouTube channel and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. So anytime I put up any videos, shorts, you will always get notified of those videos and information that gets put out. Last week, we talked about 5 steps and things you can do after you get paid, after you receive your money. We discussed that. That way we can help people be a little more strategic about when they receive their income, what they should do with it, to give you a blueprint and some methods of things you can try to improve your situation and hopefully also improve your cash flow and what you do put up for savings. All right. So, and then if you aren't subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe and start watching some of those videos. A lot of those videos are amazing. One of them that you'll probably find interesting is talking about the power of passive income. So make sure you dive in there and take part and participate in growing your financial literacy by watching some of those videos. All right. So good morning to you. Once again, when you jump in the room, tell me hello, greet me, say something. That way I know who I'm talking to. All right. And as we go over different things today, just know anything that I say on today, make sure you do your due diligence, make sure you study on your own, you do your own research. That way you can come to a logical conclusion for yourself based on this information, whether or not it makes sense for you, whether or not it will apply to your situation. So keep that in mind as we go over all this different stuff on today. All right, I'm ready to dive on in and get this party started. Good morning to my lovely wife, Yvette Steele. Happy to have you tuning in on today, as well as we talk about making money for now and later. All right, first on the list, one thing I want everyone to understand, especially right now with everything that's going on, just think about what's going on in the world today. I want everyone to understand that do not put yourself in a situation. There's nothing wrong with Social Security or receiving Social Security. Understand that, but do not put yourself, if you can. I mean, once again, this advice is going to depend on your age and where you are financially in life. But I would tell everyone right now, if you can, try not to put yourself in a situation where you are solely dependent on government assistance or Social Security. Some people can't help it. It is what it is. They may have had some type of medical problem, some type of physical problem, or mental health problem, so they need that government assistance. And so those who are willing and able and can adjust and make changes and make different financial decisions, right now I would tell you, try to make yourself so independent of the government that whether they assist you or not, you can maintain yourself, whether it's through your investments, whether it's through pensions, whether it's through retirement checks, your job, not your, I guess your job, or whether you are in business and you have your own business as well. Whatever it is, try to put yourself in a position as best as possible to not be dependent on the government. Because once again, if you solely depend on the government, it can be a stressful situation because the government can basically say, hey, we're going to continue doing this or we're not going to continue to do this. And we don't want to be in a position where we're dependent on someone else making a decision. Good morning to Anitra. Happy to have you tuning in to Coach Steele's Finance Training. She said, good morning, teammates. So once again, as you're tuning in on today, make sure, if you can share this live. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, maybe when it's over, you can share it as well on your different platforms. So that's one of the first things I wanted to talk about is not being dependent on certain government assistance, whether it's Social Security or other things, just because of the way things are going. And that's why when I talk about at Coach Steele's Finance Training, when we talk about financial literacy and improving your financial situation, talking about certain financial dynamics and the system, the economic system on which your finances flow, dumbing a lot of that stuff down to simplify it and make it easier for you. And then Coach Steele Finance Training, it also gives you accountability, it gives you reassurance, it helps give you a solid foundation. So a lot of what we deal with Coach Steele's Finance Training and why I designed it to deal with certain things, we see in this economy now more than ever how important these conversations are. We see more than ever why I keep emphasizing little things. The subject of inflation. Everyone's talking about the cost of eggs. Eggs are going up. But if you are doing certain things financially, the cost of eggs and cost of living, all these things that inflation causes, your finances, your income, the things that you've set up your businesses should also be going up, creating more value and also creating more cash flow so that your finances, your money does not feel the blow of inflation. It's still the same ratio, it's still the same percentage. And I don't want to go too deep there, but just know if you have your money flowing right, then the same percentage of your funds that you spent on groceries, it's already been prepped and buffered for the effects of inflation that can hit your life. And so we can be so creative financially that if eggs go up, if gas go up, if the cost of living goes up, if the cost of a house goes up, it won't affect you. Now, let's see, we do have a comment. Yvette says, try not to be solely dependent on government assistance. That's exactly it. That's one of the things we want to emphasize today more than ever. All right, so let's have this conversation today about making money for now or later. And what I want to ask everyone that's tuning in on today is, I want you to really evaluate your situation. When you get paid from your job or your 1099, whatever it is, how you receive your income, is that money that you have in place for now, or is it for later, or is it for both? We already know about 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck and cannot afford a $500 or $1,000 emergency to happen in their life. So when you get paid, think about it, evaluate your situation. Most times, are you making money when you get paid from your job or however the income arrives? Is that money just for now? Is it just for now, or are you able to take from some of those funds you receive monthly and pour into yourself later, or pour into your future self later? Is your money always just for now? And this is very important for the young people that are tuning in to Coach Steele's Finance Training on today. I appreciate everyone that's tuning in. If you tune in, you're listening in, make sure you tell me good morning or good afternoon. I want to greet you. But think about it. When you receive money, does it all have to be spent in the next week or two, in that same month? Or is there anything left over for later? We are in a situation to where you have to, and we should always have this mindset, but you should have the mindset that even though I receive what I receive now, I'm not going to rush through all of these funds. I'm going to designate it and design my paycheck and my income to be set up to pay me later, to be set up to take care of me later on down the road. You remember when you were young and your mom or your uncle or whoever would give you some money, your grandmother, when they gave you some money, they would say, don't spend all of this where? What was the phrase? They would say, don't spend all of this. I need somebody in the comment section to finish that phrase. When you got money from someone older, when you were younger, they said, don't spend all of this. Good morning, Felicia Richardson. Thank you for tuning in on today. Happy to have you tuning in to Coach Steele's Finance Training as we talk about making money for now and later. Just like that candy we used to eat when we were younger, now laters. Although those now laters was going down. We're talking about spending money, and do you, when you receive your money, do you put any aside for later? And why it's important. Look at what's going on in this economy. All right. Tara Joy Powell says that's exactly it. They would tell you don't spend all of this money in one place. Wisdom. They didn't get too deep about it, but they let you know. Don't take this $5 and go buy all of these. I used to buy those lemon heads. We used to go walk up to the CVS store. I think it was about a mile away from the house. Y'all remember we was little kids and everybody in the neighborhood, or shoot, I grew up with 7 siblings in one house, so that was a whole neighborhood right there. So we would all go walk into the corner store with our change and our money. And this was back in the day where, you got $2, you got a bag of chips, you got some candy, you can get you a drink. You come back, watch your TV shows and all that. You got snacks. You deciding on what snacks you're going to eat on the walk back home, what snacks you're going to save for when you do get back to the house. So, a couple of dollars would go a long way back in the day because the cost of living and the cost of items didn't cost much at all. But anyway, I lost my place going, having a flashback about childhood. But anyway, yes, they would tell us that's where I was at. Don't spend all our money in one place. And that was to let us know not to run through our money because we're going to need some for later. So thank y'all for commenting and keep me on track. Save some for later. That's what we needed to do. And so as we talk about this conversation, so many young people run through their money. So many young people just spend and splurge. It becomes a habit. And we have to wake up our community and say, hey, hold on. There's going to be some things that are coming later on down the line where you're going to need those funds. You're going to need that money. And I have to wake everyone up on today, wake everyone up on this morning here at Coach Steele's Finance Training and say, yes, inflation, the cost of living is going to continue to rise in America. The value of the dollar is possibly going to decrease. The spending power will decrease. So what are you doing to prepare yourself? Are we going to continue to look at the government or look at other people to bail us out, to save you from your financial situation? Or are you going to start taking action? Are you going to take the initiative on today and say, I want to do better? I'm going to quit spending my money all in one place. And when I make money, it's not just for now, but it is also for later. And when you make up your mind not to just spend that money for now, but also to save it so that you can spend it later, we even have to be strategic about where we place our money so that it can grow for our later. I like that. I'm going to say it again. We have to be strategic about where we place the funds. So when we decide not to spend all our money for now, and it's saving, it's building up, it's stacking up, it's hedging against inflation, we have to be very strategic about where we put those funds at so that they can grow to hedge against inflation. So when we do say, you know what, I am going to put this 9 to 5, this 1099, this money that I make from my job, this business that I have, when I get paid, I'm not going to run through this money. So now the question is, where do you put that money? Do we just put it under the mattress? Do we put it in a shoebox? Where are we putting that money so that it continues to increase in value? Because if we just sit it somewhere, understand that inflation is still going to keep moving. If you are careless about where you sit your money, inflation doesn't care. Inflation doesn't care that you refuse to be more responsible about where you place that money. That money needs to be placed in assets that can keep up and hedge against inflation. So when inflation rises, your money rises. When inflation doesn't rise, your money's still rising. And so now you are on the attack. You are on the offensive financially because you're being strategic about where you place your later money. Someone put in the comment section, I have to be strategic about where I place my later money, my future money. You have to be strategic about where you put it. You know, did you put it in a place where it's making 1%? Did you put it in a place where it's making 8%? And so now we have to start doing research on those things, because if you put your later money somewhere where it's only making 1%, then it's not hedging against inflation. If inflation is 10% or if inflation is 3%, if your money is only making 1%, then it's slowly losing spending power. So we got to be able to keep up or be ahead. So that way, when the cost of things go up, okay, my money's prepared to tackle that. My money is growing bigger or faster or keeping up with the obstacle that's in front of it. But anyway, I'm going to move on past that. I really want you all to evaluate your paycheck, the money that is coming in. When your money comes in, what direction does it go? Is it eaten up by everything of that month? Or have we been strategic to create cash flow to eliminate debt? And once debt is eliminated, we start strategically investing and saving for our future selves. And so as we tune in on today on Coach Steele's Finance Training, we are talking about making money for now and later. Are we being strategic about putting money away for later? And so when we talk about putting money away for later, you must understand you can have short-term goals and you can have long-term goals. Your money should serve a short-term purpose and your money should serve a long-term purpose. For some people, your long-term putting money away, it might be in a 401k, it might be an IRA, it might be a 403b, a 457. There are so many different retirement plans for people in the military. It might be your TSP, you name it. Some people are putting money away long-term in retirement vehicles. There are some other people that may choose other asset classes, and you have to be strategic about the asset class you choose. Many of you who tune in to Coach Steele's Finance Training, you hear me talk about real estate a lot. And so I'm going to try to give some examples to give a better understanding of what I'm talking about. When you have a retirement vehicle, whether it's a IRA, whether it's a solo 401k, whether it's a 401k, whatever type of retirement vehicle you're using, some people, I won't dive into that. Some people may be investing in crypto to hedge against inflation. Whatever retirement vehicle you're using, a lot of times it's connected to the stock market. It's connected to the market. And therefore, even though you're putting the money in there, you cannot benefit from it right now. You're benefiting later on down the line when you decide to receive distributions from those retirement vehicles, right? For some people, it may be annuities. Whatever it is, you won't receive the benefits or the cash flow the income from that until later on. I like real estate and I love investing in real estate. Why? Because I can invest in real estate, long-term rentals, short-term rentals. I like doing long-term rentals. Nothing against Airbnbs. Eventually, I hope to have one. But I like investing in long-term rentals. Why? Because the value of that property over time continues to increase in value. Yes, there's some generational wealth benefits as well, to be able to pass down generational wealth. But for me, when it comes to now or later, a 401k helps me later. A good long-term rental property helps me now and later. So when I look at assets, I look at them as candy. Just like that candy now laters, I look at assets like candy. And some of your asset candies can help you later on down the line. And some of your asset candies are going to help you now and later for you to benefit from them. And long-term rentals is one of those situations. Think about it. Long-term rental, you receive rental income monthly. So guess what? I get paid from it now. And it's going to continue as long as I have a tenant in the property. I can get paid from it later, or I can sell it later and make thousands of dollars, because we already know real estate increases in value long term in America. We've never seen real estate from when it first started ever go back to that point where it first started. It slowly increases in value over a period of time. Now, every once in a while, it may have a standstill. It may dip down a little while, but then it continues to climb and go up. So real estate is asset candy that pays you now and later, especially long-term rental. So you have to look at the different asset classes and figure out which one best suits your needs, which one best works out for you, which one you can understand better. That way you can continue to pay yourself now and later. So remember, your paycheck, your income, your 9 to 5, whatever it is, should be designed and set up to be able to pay you for now and later. And if your income isn't set up to be able to pay you now and later, then you need to start evaluating your situation. Sit down one-on-one with someone so that they can go over your situation and give you some guidance or some advice on what steps you can take. Of course, here at Coach Steele's Finance Training, I do financial coaching and I work with people one-on-one. If that's something you're interested in, well, definitely feel free to connect with me. My email is down there at the bottom at the ticker right there, coachsteelefinance@gmail.com. So feel free to reach out to me through email. Now, what's another thing that can help you with making some adjustments with your paycheck? Of course, we need to see, how much we're spending, but even how we finance things. Sometimes we finance things and we overextend our money to the point where we take the power of our income, we take the power of our cash flow, and we weaken it because of the way we pay for things, the way we budget things, and the way we finance things. For example, sometimes people buy a house that is too big for their income. We'll buy a house that's too big for our income, and now we have to finance. Now we have to service that loan and pay monthly payments. Sometimes we buy cars or vehicles that are too expensive for our income. So then now we're trying to service that loan. We're trying to service that and make a monthly payment. There goes 2/3 of our income on the house and the car. I'm not telling you not to have a vehicle or not to have a place to live, but we have to be strategic and understand how much something's going to cost us if we decide to make a purchase. So here at Coach Steele's Finance Training, there's been plenty of times where I would get on a mortgage calculator to help people decide, to help people learn how much a house is going to cost them. Sometimes we just look and we go home shopping and we don't really take time to see how much an item is going to cost us depending on the moves we make. But before you speak to the real estate agent, before you decide to make a move or talk with a mortgage broker, you can start doing estimates yourself. And I've shown this on Coach Steele's finance training plenty of times. And let's see, I'll see if I can do a quick example today. Let's see here, mortgagecalculator.org. Let's run through a scenario. If someone wanted to make sure they didn't overspend on buying a house, or at least have an estimate, a good understanding of how much it's going to cost. All right, let's go. All right, so how much is that house going to cost? The home value, let's say it's $180,000. Now, depending on your down payment, it may be no money down. It may be 20% down. If it's an investment property, you're probably going to put like 20 to 25% down. But for this case, let's say there's no money down. So then, if there's no money down, let me do this. Then the loan amount is going to be $180,000. And you got to remember, what we're doing here is we're trying to see if we can learn, let's say the interest rate is 6.68%. We can learn how to estimate how much our mortgage will cost, our monthly payment. That way before we dive into a conversation with the real estate agent or anyone, we'll know how much house we need to look for that can accommodate our income. Property taxes, let's say your property taxes are $3,000. Home insurance, let's say it's $1,500. And let's hit calculate. All right, so if that house is $180,000, and we did some hypothetical numbers here, some scenarios, we see that person's monthly mortgage payment is going to be about $1,534. That's if the mortgage is the balance on that house once it's being financed is about $180,000 at 6.68%. All of these estimates you can find out before you go house hunting and find out what it's going to cost you. And so those are some of the simple things you can do to help you determine on whether or not you can afford something. You don't have to dive into a scenario or be at the mercy of the mortgage broker or whoever. A lot of times when you go talk to, whether it's the real estate agent or the mortgage broker, whoever's going to help you understand the financing behind all of this or what it may cost you monthly, a lot of this research you can do on the front end. So by the time you connect with someone on the back end, they're just confirming your numbers and your estimates. Everything won't be 100% accurate, but they'll be confirming what you've already done the research on. And so I'm trying to get you in a situation where you get the power and the control of your finances and the decisions you make back into your hands, back into your mind, to give you confidence. That way you can go out there and seek. That way you can go out financially and conquer and have success before you overextend yourself in a house payment or a car payment or whatever you feel you might have to finance. Sometimes it may be easier just to save up money for a certain car. That way you can get from A to B without having a monthly car payment that will eat up your cash flow. Because some of that cash flow can be put away for your later, for your future. And so I'm going to keep going here today as we talk about making money for now and later, what your income should be doing, how it should be benefiting you. And so, yes, when it comes to cars, when it comes to houses and other things, when we make those decisions, it can have a long-term effect on our later money because we took all our now money, our income, and we used it for now. So now we're limited for prepping for our later. All right, so we have to be careful what we invest in. We have to make sure we're budgeting. That way we can create some cash flow. We have to be creative in our investing. And like I said, with real estate, long-term real estate, it will pay you for now and later, especially when you have good property management in place. They're maintaining the property. And let's see, we have a comment in here. I don't want to skip past that. Good morning to you, Janet Miles. Janet Miles says, our daughter is doing this now, looking for a home in Greenville, South Carolina. Nice. Okay, that's good. Is this her first home, or has she had a house before? And it'll be interesting if this is her first home. I'm sure they have some benefits out there for first-time home buyers, or, I forgot the other term I'm looking for, grants or something, where, you may not have to put as much down on buying a house. So I would research and look into all of that. So it's good that she's doing her homework now. Okay, all right, congratulations to her. Her first home, I like that. This is going to be great for her because now she can start putting that money back into her pocket. And even though some people disagree with this, depending on how you use a home long term, when you do buy a house, when you do become a homeowner, as opposed to renting. Now, I will say this, when you're renting, that just never ends. You're always paying some apartment complex, landlord, whoever, institution, company. But when you become a homeowner, you can pay that house off in potentially 5 to 7 years. Even though you signed for a 30-year mortgage, amortized loan, you can pay the house off in about 5 to 7 years, no problem, on average for most people when they're using accelerated banking, the HELOC strategy. But for her, now she is building up generational wealth with this first home she'll buy. And also, there's also a means to an end of no longer having to make a regular rent payment to someone else. You have access to the equity in your house, so you can be creative with that if you need to, whether it's starting a business or investing in other opportunities. Or the other good thing is when you sell the house, you get the profits. Janet Miles says the market is tough for a one-income household. Yes, it is. And that's what I'm talking about on today. Making money for now and later. When you have one income, you end up, if you're not really staying on point, you'll end up spending all your money for now. And so you have to be strategic. Like even in this situation, when she buys this house, if she makes the mistake of buying too big of a house or too much of a house that doesn't complement her income, then now you spend all your money paying on a property. And one of the things I tell people that I did was I was humble about it. I bought a starter home that didn't cost me much money. I took my time, found a decent community. And so it wasn't gated. It wasn't, some super expensive community, but it was decent. And it was a starter home. I could easily afford the mortgage payment on there, no problem at all. But I also understood I wasn't staying there. And so when I moved out of that house, I rented it out. And the mortgage payment was so low, and the rent I was receiving, there was some money there that I was making every month. So I could take the money that I made every month. So when I moved out, that was helping me pay for the new house, the house that I wanted. And so I didn't have to buy a starter home when I moved out. I bought something I upgraded that was more quality. And even that house that I moved out of, I'm still renting that house out to this day. And so there is a way that you can grow generational wealth, create passive income, just by being strategic with the things that you're naturally doing. I just named how I have at least 2 rental properties based off of one, getting a starter home, moving into a house that I wanted, and then even letting you know now, I eventually moved out of that second house, and that house is being rented out as well. And all of them, the mortgage payments are low because I didn't buy those properties as an investment property. Whenever you buy a house as an investment property, usually your interest rate is going to be much higher than if it's your primary home and you get a 30-year mortgage as a primary home. The interest rate is usually lower. Anyway, what does that mean? It basically means when you get ready to rent it out, the comps in the area, rent is usually higher than your mortgage payment. So there's profit to be made basically just about every time. And what happens, that P&I on that mortgage payment, that principal and interest payment always stays the same because the interest rate is usually fixed on the 30-year amortized loan. But what happens to rent over a period of time? Rent over a period of time continues to go up. So even though my P&I on that mortgage stays the same or eventually is paid off, rent still continues to climb. So therefore, that long-term rental will pay me for now, and it will pay me for later in the future as well. And then I have access to the equity in that home if I choose to tap into it. And if I choose to pull out thousands of dollars of equity, I'll let the tenant continue to pay that. And it's not a taxable event that I took thousands of dollars from out of the equity of the house. Anyway, I'll continue on. Now, long-term rentals, I'll give an example. One of my rental properties, and it's not one of the primary homes I just mentioned. One of my rental properties, when I first got it, we're talking about, using and making money for now and later, right? So one of the rental properties I have, when I first got it, the monthly rent on it was $800 a month. Years ago, I got this property and the monthly rent was $800 a month. And I had a tenant who stayed in there for maybe about 4.5, 5 years. And when that tenant moved out, and I got tired of managing the property and I let property management manage the property because I got too busy, the property management said, Simon, the rent on this house is $1,500 a month. So I went from receiving $800 a month from that tenant to when the new tenant got in, I was receiving $1,500 a month. That was a $700 difference. So that property was paying me now, but it is also paying me later. And even though when I first started out, my profit margin was very small, I think initially it was maybe about $200 a month. But because I was willing to hold on and wait it out, now if I was making $200 a month and then the rent is increased by $700, now there's a $900 difference. Now, of course, I still have to pay property management a certain percentage, but even then, let's say property management gets $100. That's still a big difference. That's still $800 a month, passive income. And so what could you do in those situations and scenarios if you learn how to sit your money to the side to create passive income that will pay you for now and continue to pay you for later? So as we continue to go on, like I told you all earlier, assets are like candy. They're like now and laters. They'll pay you for now and later. Some will pay you for later. Like I mentioned before, the retirement vehicles, 401ks, IRAs, and things like that, they're set up to pay you later so that you can make contributions now so you can receive distributions later. And so that's where we have to shift our mindset. Be creative enough to where you're not dependent on the government, where you're not dependent on outside entities to maintain you and sustain you, so that when moments like we see now, when things are coming up, and you should always want to be independent, not just in this season, no matter who's in office, who's president, who's Congress, who's in the Senate, you should always want to try to find a creative way to be independent so that you can maintain and sustain yourself. So inflation is going to continue to do what inflation does. The cost of living is going to continue to go up, but we have to be proactive with our 9-to-5, with our 1099s, with our businesses, whatever it is that we have to be creative with that money and start sitting it to the side for later and putting it in asset classes. And if you need education and understanding on financial literacy, whether you are on YouTube or on Facebook Live today, and make sure you share this live, you can click the share button. There's also another link down there where it says send stars to pin your comment here. You can send stars, and I think I make a few pennies if you send me some stars. So whatever you send me, I'm going to, of course, donate it to Cameroon, to people that don't have clothes, food, education, and things like that. But back to my main point. If you want to get educated and learn more about financial literacy and how to be wise with your finances, in my description box, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, about this video, you're going to see different links, whether it's on high yield interest savings accounts. One of the links is talking about financial education, getting free financial education. And I will try to show you what it looks like. I'm going to share my screen one more time. There we go. So one of the links will take you to this page. Let's see if I can enlarge it so you can see what it says. There we go. What does that say? Create a six-figure investment income without getting into debt, even if you have no savings. And so this is just an online mini course for you. Online mini course, how to create a six-figure investment income. Doesn't cost you anything at all. You can join the course, take some of those short video classes, and just get the information, basic financial literacy information. Once again, if you're on my YouTube channel, if you click the description box of the video, you'll see it in there on one of the tabs for the video. And you can click on that and enjoy it. And let me stop sharing my screen from that one. And if you're on Facebook, I believe it's on one of the tabs as well on Facebook. I'll see if I go to my face. And like I said before, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is just a video that this is the YouTube channel. So if you go to the YouTube channel and you click on one of the videos, you'll be able to get that information out of the description. So I'm going to try to simulate it here. And if you do go to the YouTube channel and you're not subscribed, there's plenty of shorts on here that you can watch that talk about financial literacy, a little gardening as well. If you missed any of the live videos on the Saturdays, they are all recorded on here as well. And here's an example of how you can click on one of the videos, go to the description box, and like I said, there's a high yield interest savings account link. If you're interested in learning how to pay your mortgage off at an accelerated rate, there's the accelerated banking links as well. And let's see. Let me go to, so that one doesn't have it, but this one should. But I'm live right now. Let's see if I click down here. And so I think while I'm live, I can't get to what I'm trying to show you all, but I'll make sure I put it in there if it's not now. And let me try one more video. There it is. So you'll see it right here. Six-figure investment income mini course. So if you go to the description area, you'll see the link in there where you can click on it and take that mini course investment. There's a lot of other good links that you can click on and get education as well if you need to. Some of them, ground floor investing, is a way to invest in real estate. That's something different, but make sure you do due diligence. I do invest in ground floor investing as well to make some passive income. But the free course, six-figure investment income mini course. So it is posted on the video in the live described as Power of Passive Income. All right. So once again, we want to make sure that we are making money for now and later. I appreciate everyone tuning in to Coach Steele's Finance Training. We see what it looks like in the economy right now. So we have to be very strategic what we do with our income. No excuses. Let's lock in. Let's get disciplined. Let's bring our minds together so we can be strategic. Some people are better off than others right now financially, but just because you're better off than someone else financially doesn't mean you can't sympathize, empathize, or help someone else. So anyway, thank you for tuning in to Coach Steele's Finance Training on today. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you follow me on Facebook as well under my name, Simon Steele. The YouTube channel is Coach Steele's Finance Training. We're going to make our money work for us now and later. Assets are like candy. We want to go get all the candy we can, and so that we can benefit from that. Asset candy. All right, somebody write in the chat section, asset candy. That's what we want. We want some more assets that'll pay us. Start those businesses, be motivated and be determined, be disciplined, be consistent about the things you want to do and the things you want to accomplish, because you can. You can get it all done. You just have to be disciplined. You have to be focused, do the research, push beyond your frustrations, push beyond what you don't know, the knowledge and the information you don't have. Go seek and find it. Go get that information so that you can become fruitful and productive. We know that when we start these businesses, that it opens us up to some more tax benefits, laws, rules, all that good stuff, so that we can use that to help us. So some people who have businesses and some people who have businesses in 9-to-5s, just know when we do that, we can start writing off some of the stuff that we couldn't write off before. What does that mean? That means some of your 9-to-5 income might not be taxable like it used to be. What does it mean? Some of the miles that you were going to drive somewhere anyway, you may be able to write that off. Businesses give you an opportunity to write off things that you normally do anyway that you could not write off before. And so you get to put more money back into your pocket. So some of your paycheck, some of your 9-to-5 income, when you can put it back into your pocket, now you can also use that money that was saved, that didn't have to go to Uncle Sam, and use that money for your later. We're talking about using our money for now and for later to go buy some asset candy. And when we get that asset candy, we know everybody loves candy. So now it gives you an opportunity to leverage your asset, leverage your candy, to be able to get other people to pay you for goods and services that are provided. Guys, this is valuable information, and we need it more now than ever. Thank you for tuning in.